This was on my video today about Assassin's Creed, right? Where I was talking about Yasuke and the rumor around Yasuke being removed from the game and how I do not agree with that rumor whatsoever, and I do not believe it. I do not believe the rumor, right? You got this person going into my comment section, Isra the Black. And he exposes himself just like they always do. They never watch the video. They only comment because they think they are pseudo-intellectuals. They comment based off the title and the thumbnail, and they don't watch the video. Tom Henderson confirmed that they will not replace Yasuke. And if you have half of a brain, you'd know this, because a 3-month delay can't be enough time to replace him. So my simple response to him was, did you watch the video? Or do you have half of a brain and just comment on the title? For those people out there who do stuff like this, let it be known, we see how retarded you are. Like, we actually know how retarded you are. And you make it very well known to everybody else in the world how retarded you are. Because if you watch the fucking video, you would realize that literally in the beginning of the video, within the first 2 minutes, I say, I don't believe this rumor. I don't think it's true at all. And here's the reason why. I literally say that for 8 to 9 minutes in that video, and you chose to comment this? Nice job. So with that being said, we get those kind of comments a lot when we cover video games that people really want to succeed for whatever reason. Usually they are politically driven, or sometimes it's not even politically driven. Sometimes it's just fanboyism, right? In this case, we have Skull and Bones, a game that I said was going to be a flop since day one. And the reason why I said this game was going to be a flop since day one had nothing to do with wokeness. This game was going to be a flop since day one because not only was the game not well made, but it was also one third of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's like they took out the naval combat from Assassin's Creed Black Flag and they made an entire game based around it. That's literally what Skull and Bones is. And then they tried to sell you a quad A experience. It's a quad A experience, ladies and gentlemen. Not triple A, quad A, right? So they sold you a DLC as a full game and expected you to fucking eat it up. That's what killed this game, right? If you would have charged, let's say, $29.99 for the game, maybe even $39.99 for the game, that'll be different. But you charged full price for this shit when people just can go play Assassin's Creed Black Flag and get a full, complete experience with on-ship combat on top of that. You can't even board the ship. If you try to board the ships, you get a cutscene. That's it. They took out the on-ship combat. Why would anybody want to take part in that? Why would anybody want to play that? I can't even imagine that some of the most diehard naval combat people out there would want to play a 1/3 of a game. It just doesn't make any sense. The graphics weren't even that much better. Exactly. Guffar35 said just play Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves, with their trans characters and all, would offer you a much more full of experience than this shit did. But in any case, Ubisoft allegedly spent between $650 and $850 million on its quad A game, Skull and Bones. Now, you're probably thinking that's not possible. And you might be right. You might be right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You might be right. But I want you guys to think about something. This game was in development hell for many years. Many years. Over a decade. Okay? I believe it was over a decade, if I remember correctly. This game was in development hell for such a long, long time. Over 10 years of development, exactly. So it's not that shocking considering that Concord was over $400 million spread across eight some odd years. Skull and Bones in development over 10 years. And it's Ubisoft and it was delayed multiple times, you know, I can kind of see it maybe at the 650 number. I don't know if I believe the 850 number. I feel like the 850 number is just way out there. But the 650 number, I can kind of believe, given what we know, right? Given everything that we know. Now, let me see if I can find some numbers really quick to give you a bit of information. So if you look at this right here, boys. Again, Skull and Bones had an all-time peak of 2,615 players on Steam. Right? Estimated sales are anywhere from, let's say, 20,000 to 35,000. I don't think it's 35,000 in the slightest. I think 20,000 would probably be the number if I had to guess. If that. But again, 2,600 was the peak for Skull and Bones, the Quad A experience from Ubisoft. The first ever Quad A official game. At least according to that developer anyway. Currently, there's 216 people playing right now. 216 people that are diehard, not wanting to let it go. Right? Suicide Squad experienced the same exact thing. Now, again, just to reiterate, when I had made videos on Skull and Bones, I was also making videos on Suicide Squad at the time. I was making videos on a lot of games that were destined to flop at the time. People were calling me a grifter. People were calling me a liar. People were in my comments saying that the game sold perfectly fine, that it's a success, that a lot of people are playing, blah, blah, blah. They would literally lie in the comment section and then call me a grifter in the same exact comment. It's actually it actually is pretty much fucking amazing. But now we're here because we always get here, right? This is the amazing thing about these people in my comment section and on Twitter, the shills, the ones who try to say everything's fine while the world is burning around them. We always end up here. No matter what, we end up here where eventually we're going to have to talk about business, and we're going to have to talk about the budget of the game versus how much it sold and how many players are playing right now. And 99% of the time, it always ends up in Hypno Daddy's favor. Usually. Every once in a while, I get it wrong, and that's okay. We're allowed to do that. But it always ends up here. So it's incredible to me because those people who will leave comments are nowhere to be found now. They're also nowhere to be found in the game because 260 players playing right now with a 412 all-time peak. I mean, it's not looking too good for a Quad A game. Same thing with Suicide Squad. Same thing with Marvel's Avengers back in the day. Same thing with all that stuff. Right? Can we at least start admitting that there are problems with these video games? And see, the biggest issue is that they don't want to have this conversation because they just like to classify us as, you know, whatever, anti-woke, grifters, blah, whatever makes them feel better at night, right? They have to classify us as something because if they don't, then that means they have to have a conversation that might lead somewhere they don't want it to go. So they have to classify us. They have to call us whatever they got to call us so they can feel better for themselves. Okay, that's fine. So why allow yourselves to end up back here? Why allow it? Let's go back to the article. So again, apparently this game costs $650 to $850 million. I was also told that the project that ruined Ubisoft was not actually Star Wars Outlaws or Assassin's Creed Shadows. It was actually Skull and Bones. And that I agree with. That's the part that I agree with. Because we know that's true. Ubisoft was struggling with Skull and Bones for over a decade. There's no way that a game that's stuck in development hell for a decade is going to be successful just from a financial standpoint. You would have to get so lucky. I mean, you know how many sales Skull and Bones would have had to have in order for it to get anywhere close to being successful? Think about that. How how many sales would they have had to make to be successful? According to Kira, this game has an estimated revenue of $7 million. And that $7 million, they don't even get to keep most of that. They get to keep probably 2/3 of that. Because they got to pay their retailers. They got to pay the storefronts. They have to. So how is it that your game is making $7 to $10 million and it has a budget of over $600 million fucking dollars? Even if you didn't want to believe the $600 million number, okay, let's go to 400 million. Okay, you don't want to believe that number? Let's go to 200 million. It's not, by the way. It's definitely high up there. But no matter what number you go to, 200, 400, 600, 800, no matter what number you go to, 7 million does not come anywhere close to those numbers.